Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over the daily technical analysis update of uranium. I've got the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust behind me. Looks like we got quite a big mixed bag that we're going to be going through today, but that's okay. We'll take a look at the charts. I'll give you my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice. Make sure it fits with whatever strategy you're using, whatever decisions that you make. But let's get in here. I'll give you my opinion. I've got the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. It is turtle heading out of its resistance area. If we zoom in on the 1 year or daily candlesticks, what I see here is a nice breakout, moving on up. We hit our head on it. We came back, and now we're sticking back up above that resistance line again. It's looking quite good. I go to the 5-day. We're ending up towards this peak here. So we got to break through that resistance up there next. And we're sitting above this resistance line. Looks good. It looks good. Looking at URNM, we're sitting above the support line. That's what this line is here going across. We're sitting on top of it. We got a nice little hammer pattern that's developed. We could go higher if the buyers decide to push this higher. We're right above support. Not a bad spot. Bannerman, yeah, we were down a little bit. This is from the 40 million raise, but I still think this is a good company. I still think it's in a good location to be a buyer. I still think it's going to go higher. Goviax, Uranium, another one that's in a good spot that I like where it's at. We just had a down day. No reversal pattern or anything. We even could come all the way back. If it decides to do that, I still like it here. Looking at Global Atomic, we got a nice little hammer pattern today. We're still up against this resistance line. We're trying to break through at some point. Thesis, putting in a bullish engulfing, looks like that's usually a sign that it wants to go higher. We have to break through this resistance line at 75 cents. That's our next target to break through. Pure Point Uranium, it's just hanging out with a small little down day today. It still looks good on the big long-term picture view. We're just sitting in here trying to break this upper resistance line. Looking at Deep Yellow, going deep with Deep Yellow. Looks like a bullish piercing pattern. Usually they head higher with that pattern. These are small companies, and sometimes the volumes are kind of small, so they throw false patterns every once in a while. But this is a bullish piercing pattern where it could potentially go higher. Paladin is sitting on top of its support line. Usually that's a good spot that I like to pick some up. The lows are coming up. It looks good too. Sky Harbor just moving sideways at this resistance area. All through here is resistance. Every time we've hit this area, we've sold back off. Sold back off multiple times, but it looks like the lows are stepping on up. So hopefully we can stay there and break. That is yet to be seen, but we'll see if we can do it. Canalaska is another one that's getting right above its support area. I actually like it in this area. It looks great from a long-term perspective, like it wants to break and move on up. NXE, Next Gen Energy, just popping sideways inside of this pattern. It's a big funnel type pattern that we could potentially break to the upside on. Base load getting some juice, juicing up 8% upward. Not a bad day today, but you know it's just a flat momentum day. Didn't really go anywhere throughout the day. Fission 3.0, a little down day today. Could this go lower? Yeah, maybe. Fission still at resistance. Hasn't made any new progress on it. Just a sideways day today. Camco, small little down day. I think this will eventually work its way higher. I call this like a 3 little down, down day. We're above support. Big buying pressure, small selling pressure. I think that we will resolve itself going up because it looks good, and that's what I've seen in history. Sideways for Kazatomprom. PenMF, nice little up day, but the momentum's coming back down throughout the day. It's an okay day. I wish it opened here and closed up and strong. I like seeing those types of days. But somebody gapped it up and then it sold off a little bit throughout the day. Boss Energy right at support, or I mean resistance. Here's your resistance. We still got to break that thing. International consolidated uranium still just moving sideways. LTSRF, Lotus Resources, right at its resistance line. We're trying to break through that. UROY, it's a little hammer pattern. Hopefully we can get some buying pressure to move this thing up. Encore Energy, we're right at the support. I still like it here. I would be a buyer. That's me. UU got what I need. It's right on support. Resistance support. It's resistance moving up through this way. Support if you're coming back down if we break through it. We're right kind of at that area where it's being used as both. It's hard to say. You get support with the wicks at the bottom, resistance with the wicks at the top. It's the buyers equaling the sellers right now. URG, another little hammer pattern, doesn't look horrible. It looks decent. UEC, hammer pattern. LEU, this one kind of looks like it wants to kind of roll over before heading higher. LTBR, nice. This could potentially go lower. It's a bearish piercing pattern, which means that it's piercing the ones before it. Usually that's a reversal pattern that could potentially head lower. We've got the lead in with the larger selling pressure, the bounce that's not as good, right into a bearish engulfing pattern. So we could head a little bit lower in the very short term. ISO Energy just bopping sideways. Looks like it's trying to coil up. Appia Energy, this is one that I would be a buyer in myself. I have purchased in it. I like it right here. Bullish engulfing. Looks like it wants to go higher. The rare earths are looking very good in general. DNN just moving sideways. It is above its support line. Everything looks good and intact. Blue Sky Uranium just moving sideways here. We've got Forum Energy Metals, bullish engulfing today. We could see it move on up. AEC moving sideways. Look at Ann. So this is Anfield Energy just bopping sideways today. I do like this pattern though, guys. I really do. Zoom in here. This is kind of the booty bottom, and hopefully we can break at some point. Laramide, another one that I do like where it's at in this general vicinity. If it gets down in this area, it'd be a nice good buy point. Western Uranium, WS TRF, hitting our head on this, coming kind of selling off. We could head a little bit lower by the bearishness in the patterns. UEXCF, looks like we're just coming up into resistance. Every time we, little sell-offs here is what I'm seeing. There's resistance right there. So that's what I'm seeing there. Mega Uranium, again, it's sitting on top of the pattern. In general, I like it up here, but we're getting selling pressure where the second circle is at. We could have, I don't know, we'll see in the short term. Standard Uranium just moving sideways. Again, this doesn't, to me, this chart doesn't look strong. It's not exuding strength. We've got a lot of weakness coming here. We get our head to hit back again. There's no buying pressure that I see that would push this thing upward, at least in the chart itself. ALXEF, bullish engulfing today. We'll see what this thing does. It could head higher. Azincourt, this guy's basically coming to a point and about to make a decision. It's probably going to head higher. That's what the rest of the group is doing. Looking at Valor Metals, another one that looks, decent. We've got a little bit more selling pressure on these days here. Maybe we come back to this as general vicinity, get another buying point. And then Elevate Uranium, another one that this actually looks really good for a move higher. Potentially a very big move higher. It looks very good for Elevate Uranium. And that is one that some people have told me is a very good company. So, I get kind of a mixed bag. We could go higher. We could go sideways. It's a mixed bag today, guys. A lot of these have broken out of their patterns. They're sitting on the top like Elevate. Generally, what I do in the very short term, if we bounce all around, that's fine. But I would be a buyer in this general vicinity because we've broken out above the big downtrend lines and the patterns. So that means that we usually resolve itself higher. If we go lower and this goes sideways for a little bit, like let's say Elevate here. I'm going to go over here. So let's say this stock, this one looks like it wants to go up, but let's just say it kind of comes like this. this just because it went lower doesn't negate this pattern over here. It still is going to eventually work its way higher, I think. As long as it stays above this trend line here, we're all good. And so when I look at all these patterns, as long as we're above the pattern, I view it as a positive. And I would be a buyer and an accumulator above that pattern. And I think we're going to move on up. That's my take on all this. If we look at some of the ratios, and we can do that, you know what? We can do that at another time. If we look at the ratios, they all look very positive for uranium, no matter what you put against it. So I think that uranium could outperform basically everything in commodities, in precious metals, in stocks, in everything. And that's kind of what the pattern looks like to me. I'll go over that sometime and show you uranium charts in relationship to other assets. But right now, everything looks really good, guys. Give me a thumbs up on the content. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my website. It's down in the link below. Become a member if you want. I go over a lot of these things. We have a meeting this weekend. If you want to attend the meeting, up to you. But everything's looking good, guys. Thanks. This is Finding Value.